and welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade, where we just ended on a Pádraig's base. So, first time we don't have a bug here. We wish to end the night. Yes. Next night, night number 5. December 2024. 3 nights till New Year. So I guess we'll survive this night. Spoiler. Pádraig's Haven. Morning. Sunshine, night number 5. Yeah. Usually, the first thing that hits me when I blink awake is the boundless black void, staring at me the same way I stare into its perfect nothingness. It disappears in a beat, and all I'm left with is this nagging thought that I missed something important. I never wake up groggy. I'm wired as soon as the sun dips, like I've been faking sleep all day. Not this night though. Tonight exhaustion floods in, overwhelming me like a tsunami. I feel buried alive, suffocated under the weight of the murky water. I can't spend another day in Pádraig's Haven. Staying here 2 nights a week is really pushing it, even for me. Not that I'm counting on having that chance given what's in my schedule. Oddly enough, I'm kind of getting used to this pad. It's no Ritz, but it's got a vibe of safety that I'm low-key desperate for. Pádraig's up already, and I loathe to admit it, but having him around isn't as awful as I initially thought. He's just there, lost in the gritty view of the Bronx, playing with his ring like he always does whenever there's something bugging him. I take a quick look past him at the murky, scarce sky. Then a memory crashes in, uninvited. It wasn't long after I got turned, like a year back or so. We had this wild kick out in Nevada. Nothing to wax poetics about, but we were road tripping in 2 RVs. Me and Reynard in the lead, the rest of our gang tailing us. Completely out of nowhere, Reynard grabs the wheel and veers us straight into the desert, leaving the others far behind. We come to a stop in no time, and Reynard's already bouncing out and scaling the RV to go on the roof when I'm just like, what the actual hell? He just pulls me up there with him, and wow, just wow. This absolute darkness with sky so thick with stars it could make anyone feel dizzy, I swear to God. I could have kept on loving that life, drifting from state to state with my gang, my family, but everything's gone to hell because of Reynard. So why do I have to be the one paying for all this shit? Why can't I even bring myself to hate him? I pound my fist in the couch. Dust swirls up from the cushions, floating eerily in the dim candlelight. Let's go. You're probably waiting for us already. Okay. I mean, people support us, so I think easy for you to say would be a bit too passive aggressive. Let's get this over with. Yeah, there's no point in dragging this out and pissing them off even more. Nothing else to do than get my shit together and pray Lady Luck will have my back. Still, it's hard for me to move. It's like I'm already glued to the couch. This silence fills the room with all that is unspoken. Then his voice, soft and almost imperceptible, cuts through the veil. Listen. Here comes the pity party. If you're gonna start with that, Kali, calm down. Hear me out. Just this once, without interrupting. The shift in tone, it's enough to make me sip my lips, which says a lot. Look, I can't promise you a rosy outcome. No pep talk either. You're too clever for that. But what I can promise you is that I'll be there for you, and I'll do my best to convince the council to let you go. I just nod, kind of dazed. His words so so raw and sincere, anchor me to the moment, more real than ever, providing an odd sort of comfort. So, are you ready? Not really, I guess. Yeah, let's just go. We head to the perfectly serviceable car in silence. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna miss this old clunker and Pádraig's bizarre attachment to it. I shut the door behind me and slump into my seat, too anxious to fill the silence with my usual ramblings. So we're gonna go down to Queens. Bad omens. Catching up with my favorite council at Elysium tonight. I'm scared shitless, but there's nothing to be done about it. I gotta march right into the lion's den. I just hope Pádraig stands by me like he said he would. We drive mostly in silence, which suits me just fine. Guess there's not much left unsaid at this point. And really, not much I want to talk about either. Pádraig pulls up a few blocks shy of the Elysium, parking in an alleyway shadowed by half-built tenements that look like they're screaming about urban decay. Why are we stopping here? The art hall's a couple blocks down. A little walk might do us good. Clear the cobwebs a little. What do you say? I just nod. Not like walking's gonna change the damn thing, but maybe it'll help me steer clear of my nerves for whatever is waiting at the end of this trek. The walk is quiet. Just a crunch of snow underfoot and the looming skeletons of buildings around us. There are empty windows, frames like open mouth, howling at the city. They remind me of dead trees, all hollow and eerie as shit. Feels like I'm a character in some cheesy horror movie, headed towards a particularly shitty kind of afterlife. The irony isn't lost on me. Deep in my gloomy thoughts, I almost miss the sound of heated voices from one of the sides. Who the fuck does construction at this hour? Pádraig's face grounds even more serious than normal. One step further and it'll be put in a museum as the benchmark for grumpiness. Shh! This way! He tucks me a bit too sharply towards the fence and hisses for me to take a closer look at the source of the noise. He's fidgeting with his ring again, which is never a good sign. Peeking out, I see three, probably mortals in beat-up clothes, chatting animatedly like they're plotting something. Great. Bunch of thieves. Or just idiots betting who can haul off a T-bar. Big deal. Let's keep moving. Hanging around here isn't exactly helping me. I'm not sure they're just thieves, Scarly. As he mentions it, I catch a glimpse of a handgun peeking from one of the guy's belts. My eyes narrow, fishing out more details. They're tense, ready to snap. And one dude, he's wearing what look like damn well might be a Kevlar vest under his jacket. They could be undercover. Maybe DEA on a stakeout? I doubt they're the vets either. You think? Hunters. Probably a scouting party. This close to Elysium? Fuck. We freeze, spying on them, until the scratchy sound of a radio cuts the silence short. I can't hear the words, but whatever's being said has them dashing into the building, steps echoing up the stairs. I look over Pádraig, his figure's busy twirling his ring like it's got answers. I mean, who knows, maybe it does, but so do I. Let's go after them. I'm not sure. Oh, please. You already made up your mind. Your face screams internal debate loud and clear. Right. I have a bad feeling about this. We better figure out what they're up to. I nod and start for the building. Every move cautious and calculated. Pádraig follows, silent as the grave. We zip up 10, 12, 15 floors in a brink, tailing the hunters, melding into the shadows as we go. The higher we climb, the louder the wind howls, whistling through the unfinished windows. Soon we sneak into a vast, open area still under construction and crouch behind a half-finished wall. The 3 hunters we followed in join a few others, one clutching a radio, posing like he's the boss. I take a quick look around to get the lay of the land and... holy Quiet! Scattered among the debris of wires and building tools, there's a brightly lit table piled up with maps and rugged laptop, displaying a stream of commands on its green screen. Military equipment is everywhere. Assault rifles, Kevlar vest, night vision goggles, and notably a massive sniper rifle on a bipod, aimed loosely at the street below. I lower my voice to a whisper. We need to get the hell out of here. Now! If this is SAD, if they are, more of them. They are not just the Feds. I'm telling you, they are well equipped, but all of this screams paramilitary to me. So what's our play? He raises slowly, tense like a predator, ready to pounce. Stay low. It'll only take a moment. In a flash, Pádraig darts towards the nearest hunter. A gruesome crunch echoes as he smashes the man's head. The rest snap out of their daze, moving sluggishly as if in slow motion, but Pádraig is already whispering something under his breath. I catch myself half of the words escaping his mouth, all of them mundane, direct, normal, but every single one of them makes me want to dunk my head underwater to escape their soft, incessant onslaught. I do the next best thing, and I just cover my ears, thinking about the best steps to be taken. Okay. I'm locked out of helping him. Is it because like my hunger is too high? So I'm not sure, like I see like my hunger has 2 bars, so I was thinking that means like I'm not hungry at all. I thought they would be like brightly lit or something, but maybe those 2 indicate that I have a hunger of 2 and I cannot sustain more. And I guess the 2 on the right would be the hunter's icon, so I also have hunter attracting 2. Not sure, so I have no choice but to... I guess I don't have blood enough to help him, so I have to wait and observe. One of the hunters screams higher and higher until he's practically squealing, head between his hands and eyes bulging out of the sockets. The other 2 scramble for their weapons but don't get far. The body of their tormented companion is hurled through the air, knocking them both down. Before they can recover, Pádraig appears before them, rifle in hand, and with impressive precision fires a bullet into each of their heads. They collapse with a muted thud of flesh hitting the concrete. Silence falls over the room. The intimidating threat apparently neutralized. Pádraig's riding his high, barely aware of his surroundings. That's when I spot the last remaining hunter, leaping from cover with a taser aimed at Pádraig's back. Pádraig, behind you! My shout barely precedes the taser firing its barbs. Pádraig whirls around and the needles burrow into his arms, electricity crackling down the wires. He looks more confused than anything. Tasers have little effect on our kind, but while Pádraig calmly yanks the needles out of the hunter springs towards the table and deftly picks up a machete. She advances with the blade drawn, but Pádraig is way quicker. He lunges, grabbing her by the throat, and snaps her neck with a brutal twist. By the time I reach him, he's already cooling off. Shit, are you okay? I should have... I'm fine. It wasn't pleasant, but I'm glad you listened. There was no need for you to take risks. Oh, screw you. Making me sit there gathering dust while you're hogging all the action. He smirks slightly, but there's a little joy in his face. The flicker of the laptop screen on the table catches our attention, but the real prize isn't even that. It's a pile of documents spread across the counter. Blueprints and maps, aggressively annotated with a Sharpie. A closer look at these papers lays bare the detailed layout of the art hole and its immediate surroundings. Pádraig and I lean over the table, exchanging worried glances. Damn, they mapped out everything. They know the art hole inside down to the last screw. Seems like they have been at this for weeks. Suddenly, through a gap in the wall, I spot some movement on the roof of the building next door. I might have overlooked it if it was not for the flashlight beam slicing through the darkness. I jerk into action like a cat on hot bricks, grabbing the sniper rifle propped by the window. Sweeping the gun from side to side, I peer through the scope, surveying the entire neighborhood. What do you see? Hunters. Loads of them, all over the fucking shop. Several other surveillance squads are spread out around us, all focusing on Elysium, forming a tight net, with multiple squads scattered around, effectively sealing off the perimeter around the art hole. Jesus, we're completely surrounded. Every damn direction is swarming with hunters. I jerk away from the scope, which clatters against the rough window still. What the hell do we do now? We've got to alert the council immediately. This is, Just then, a crackle of a patrol member's walkie-talkie cuts through the tension as if on cue. I snatch up the walkie-talkie, straining to hear the faint voices coming through the static. All units, take positions. Light or confirm your spot. We move on your signal. It's harvest time, brothers and sisters. Let the... Drive out the darkness. Over. All hands on deck. Let's teach these fucking leeches a lesson. Over. I glance at Pádraig, but he's frozen in place, completely shell-shocked. Don't just stand there, damn it! Move! We bolt from the building. It takes me a good minute of a high-speed sprint before I realize that I'm still clutching the walkie-talkie. No hunters ever see us on their way. It's like we are protected by my Lady Luck and the emissary she has in Pádraig, who with the help of the voices leads us unscathed through all the patrols. We blitz to the entrance of Elysium. I'm fixated on the door, noticing the red thermal light is off, a good sign that there's no immediate danger. Suddenly, I'm shoved inside. I land hard on my ass, just in time to see the Valerie's thugs blocking the door. The hell you think you're doing? You enter and may say so. Pádraig reaches down to help me up, but I'm already on my feet, driven by pure, unbridled rage. Get the fuck out of my way! I try to push past him, but he's like a brick wall, that stubborn, immovable fucking object. What the fuck's your problem? You go in when I... Before he can finish, a fist clad with glittering rings like a knuckle duster lands squarely on his face, smashing him back against the wall. I shoot Pádraig a look. He's fuming. Perfect. We exchange a glance and charge into the art hole, my caretaker hot on my heels. Our entrance stops, the incessant debating dead in its track. You could hear a pin drop amidst the choked off silence. Jaws hit the floor, eyes widen, but the only thing I really notice is the murderous look on the sheriff is throwing our way. I nearly trip over my feet, but regain my balance before ending on my knees. A quick glance tells me the room hasn't changed much since my last visit, except for the notable absence of the Anarch Baron. What on earth is this intrusion? You cannot possibly... This is hardly a manner of arrival for someone whose fate is so precariously perched, Ravnos. All they need to do is listen. Just fucking listen. Kadir, can you not just skip the trial? It's obvious she's courting final death here. Everyone, just shut the hell up for 1 second. They obviously have a reason. Esteemed counsel, please, you must listen to... I feel a harsh grip on my arm, wrenching it back painfully. Can't they just shut up for one? You're both going to regret this. And what are your plans for dealing with this, Sheriff? In my domain? Unacceptable. Valerie, seize them. Enough! His voice silences through the chaos. Command commanding instant silence as if cutting the noise with a blade. Pádraig uses the moment to push Valerie Thug off me, not too gently. The sheriff lets the silence linger, soaking it up until the last whisper dies down. Then he holds it a bit longer before breaking it like a vow. "You've let the ravens fly, Conroy." His words carry the weight of impending doom, heavy with promised violence. "You better have a good reason for this disruption. Exceptionally good. We would not just storm in here if... Sheriff, it's... The hunters! There's a swarm of them, armed to the teeth. They're advancing on Elysium. We saw them." The echo of my voice bounces off the walls, and suddenly everyone's too stunned to speak. The silence drags on, and on. "Should this prove to be yet another one of your schemes, Raven, I swear. This is preposterous. There's simply no conceivable way that... You're all completely out of your fucking minds. Just listen to her." Their ears are closed, sealed shut. They're too fucking obstinate, too damn rigid in their old tired ways. It's nothing but endless prattle with them, constant yapping of these drunks on their own authority, blind, oh so deliberately blind to the actual dangers lurking around. We're screwed. Every last one of us. "Lightbringer, the BFB is ready for launch. Countdown imminent. Over." Did the man name this fucking thing or what? Pádraig gives me a look, eyeing the walkie-talkie in my grasp. Of course. I straighten up and slam the walkie-talkie down on the oversized, ludicrously grand table. The quarreling stops. They're all ears now, listening to the hunter's comms. "This is Lightbringer. We're green for launch. Initiating countdown. 10, 9... Holy shit, they're actually going to... The sheriff twitches as if ripped out of a suspended animation. Understanding blooming on his face like blood on a broken skin. "Evacuate the premises! Now everyone, go, go!" Just like that, it finally clicks for them. But it's already too late. 6, 5... I bolt. No idea where to. Just follow the mob in some desperate hope that... 3, 2... The last image seared into my memory is Pádraig's face. Just before... 1... A desert rave, flames flickering the sky like a celestial joke. I dance as if the fire could burn away the fringes of my Burgess self. But ash is just the ghost of fire. Those moments are so distant now, a festival of fire and freedom. But what does a kindred seek in the flames? Redemption? Destruction? Or... reckoning? Reality, dark as the blood I crave yet shun. It tastes like metal, like rust. Click, 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 click. Like fire, like hunger, like survival. That games we all play, all but flies, flips, fleets. Here now, surrounded by the fire of my own disconnection. Pixels of dark, oh so very dark web, every bite a story of deception, every link a chain to another false promise. The digital haze, impenetrable, but even codes have their breakpoints. Just the way I do. "Kali!" His voice, serpent, slick, sugar-coated daggers, wrapped in velvet tones, the maker of my illusions, the puppeteer dangling me on a string of silken lies, but aren't we all but mirrors of our own deceits, reckoning back the lies we've so carefully curated, a firestorm of half-truth and whole falsehoods. So what are we, if not the secrets we keep? Kali! I'm here. I'm still here. What? Run! I remember now. Oh shit! Pádraig urgently pulls me on my arm, jolts me from my trace. He's hauling me away from the remains of what once stood as the very jewel in the crown of the New York Camarilla. Elysium is now just a burnt husk of its former self, grandeur swallowed by voracious flames that seem to silence the desperate screams of those who fled the initial havoc. Thick smoke spirals into the night sky, fiercely tearing at the air around it. I could stand here for hours, watching the whole place turn to ash. Kali, snap out of it! Clack, clack, clack. The sudden, close sound of gunfire serves me a brutal wake-up call. Yeah. We launch into the maddening sprint. Pádraig is slightly ahead, grabbing my hand way too tightly for my liking. He looks mostly unscathed, just a few scratches here and there. A stinging pain on my cheeks finally reaches my senses. I run my fingers over it and find a deep gash, but aside from that, I seem to be okay too. We pass by Arturo, half leading, half carrying a barely conscious Prince Penhart. He shoots us a hateful glare before launching into a sprint. The sharp rattle of an assault rifle echoes just behind them. A few bullets whiz by, damn near grazing my ear. We're about to duck around the next corner when our luck runs out. A hunter, barely a few feet away, levels his rifle at us. Goddamn abominations! I recognize him. He's the sole survivor from that mob that went after the serpents. Senseric gave him a fucking grenade and a decisive order to set it off at their headquarters. Miracles he didn't blow himself to hell. He hesitates, lowering his gun slightly. I know y'all. You goddamn leeches, I remember you. Pádraig crouches, fangs bared, poised to strike at any moment. I mirror his stance, ready to spring. What you did to me, you witch! You had me craving, searching for your ilk, begging. He snaps the rifle up, now aiming right between my eyes, following my movements closely. But I held back. I resisted. You don't own me. My brain's in overdrive, seething, every fiber of my very being just itching to see his blood, not even to drink it, but to shed and tear and make him watch his own heart pump out its last beat in my hand. I mean, guns don't actually kill us, of course, unless you do a lot of damage, but we're already a little bit problematic here. So I think in this case, like, socially taunting him maybe makes sense. You left a snotty trail on your way here, you gross fuck. He spits, then tightly holds his weapon like he's gonna save him. Y'all are nothing but sick, twisted monsters. We're gonna scrub the world clean of your filth. His words turn into a choked gurge as the carved blade cleaves him in two, slicing from neck to guts like he's cutting through butter. His weapon falls to the ground with a metallic clang. His torso follows, flopping down grotesquely. Then the rest of the hunter hits the snow, blood spewing out like a macabre fountain, unveiling the executioner. Kadir. I lift my eyes. His blood-streaked face is horrifying, anger etched deep, his fangs bared, elongated. He looks right through me as if I'm just a bump in his road, another thing to slash through, tear apart, or crush like a spoiled apple. Pádraig notices it too, because he steps right in front of me. We are not your enemies, Sheriff. Kadir cocks his head, almost like he cannot grasp the meaning behind the words. There's a primal edge to him, an untamed frenzy that seems to feed on something dark and ravenous. Those eyes, those scary, empty eyes. They belong to the beast. Gunfire snaps all of us back to reality. Without uttering a word, Kadir leaps into an alley like a feral cat, ready to mangle everything and anything that dares to stand in his way. It only lasts a moment, yet it stretches into what feels like forever. Pádraig taps my shoulder and nods towards Julia as she steps out of the crumbling facade of the art hall. Ailing slung over her shoulder, she hands the limp body to Valerie, who appears right behind her. Valerie hurries past us and slips into an alley. Julia, with one arm dangling uselessly, strides up to us. You idiots are really just going to stand here? No, obviously not. The north exit's blocked. Those assholes are pushing in from the Bronx. Conroy, you clutched on you glued in on your safe spot in Greenpoint? I don't think so, no. You glued in on our safe spot in Greenpoint. A deep thundering boom reaches us only a moment after the ground between us explodes in a fountain of debris. We duck mindlessly, scanning for the shooter to no avail. Fuck! We need to split up. You two, make for Williamsburg. Someone will pick you up here. Move it now! Let's go! Chop chop! She vanishes into the shadows. Only her fading footsteps give away her departure. Another loud explosion rumbles and a gunshot cracks just as we attempt to sneak away from our hiding spot. That's when I catch a glimpse of the shooter. A fleeting shine from their scope gives them away, perched on the rooftop down the street, prepping their next shot. But it never comes. Instead, a dog materializes out of thin air on the rooftop, lurching at the sniper. Its jaws clomp onto their neck, throwing them off balance. They stumble and fall off the roof. And just as suddenly as it appeared, the dog is gone. Holy fuck, did you see that? I did. It might have been a gangrel, although, well, we'll have to ponder that later. We waste no more time ducking into the dark alleys. Anything to get away from this madness. The relentless echo of gunfire fades, now replaced by the distant, mournful wail of police sirens. As we move, my instincts kick in hard, prompting me to sweep the rooftops, windows, and alleyways for any signs of the threat. There's no immediate danger inside, actually. The streets are eerily deserted, as if everyone could sense the looming peril. Yet, the air is still thick with tension. We should get moving. Yeah. We run in silence, Pádraig and I, our movements synchronized as though we'd rehearsed this escape countless times, refining every step. We're supposed to be the predators of the night, and now here we are, the prey, driven by fear of being hunted. Echoes of agonizing screams still haunt my ears. I can't tell if they're real or just figments of my imagination, conjured up to mess with my mind. As we sprint through a seemingly safe alley, a hint of burned gasoline hits my nose. The smell intensifies when we are around the corner, mingling with the fading glow of a fire swinging in a trash can, devouring whatever it caught. Then I trip, sprawling face fist in the slush. I lift my hands, seeing them coated in a mix of melted snow, dirt, and blood. I look up, eyes adjusting to the dim light. The alley is strewn with bodies. Hunters, judging by their gear. It's deathly quiet. Shit, it's like a grinder run through them. Who? I don't know. But we need to find another way. Something's not right here. Just as he says, I hear a strained grunt, a whoosh of something being hurled through the air, and then the crackle of igniting fabric. I glance up just in time to see a Molotov cocktail flying straight at us from a window above. Pádraig, absorbed in the grim scene, hasn't seen it coming. Oh fuck. Time seems to crawl to a stop. Ooh. Catching it mid-flight or shoving him away. Ooh. I mean, we haven't shown ourselves to be extremely athletic, to be honest. Like, I think I'm gonna shove him away. Save him. I crouch and with all my strength launch myself at Pádraig, now looking up, his eyes widen in alarm, hoping to shove him out of harm's way. Despite my smaller frame, I slam into him hard enough to knock him over like a ragdoll. We both skid into a wall several yards away, narrowly escaping the flames now devouring the alley and what's left of the hunter squad. The pungent aroma of charred flesh strikes my nostrils, permanently permeating the alleyway within seconds. I'm flat on my back, gasping to regain my composure. Pádraig is already up, scanning for the bastard who nearly turned us to ashes. Then a sharp, anguished cry pierces the air, followed by a crash of breaking glass. The hunter trembles out of the window, landing with a thud that suggests broken bones. He's followed by a dark, bloody figure that lands elegantly next to him. Oh, of course. Valerie grabs the hunter by the throat, hoisting him up before biting deeply into his neck. She drinks ravenously, her victim's body spasming under the grip until it finally goes limp, the last twitches fading into stillness. Valerie? She doesn't answer, still high on a feeding craze. Without a word, she spins around and disappears into the nearby building. Moments later, she emerges, carrying an unconscious Ailing. Only now do I see just how badly Ailing is hurt. Her legs are gone below the knees, left arm ripped off her shoulders, and neck savagely torn up. She's covered in vast, ugly burns. It's a pretty horrific up close. You're a natural-born distraction, little raven. Yeah, chaos seems to follow me. I sneak a peek at Pádraig. He can't seem to take his eyes off Ailing's wretched form, like it's digging up some tough memories. Valerie notices it too. She won't be waking up from the torpor anytime soon, I'm afraid. What happened? Is this of their making? He waves his hand around the alleyway, pointing to the obliterated remains of what used to be a hunter squad. No. She found herself at the epicenter of the explosion, alongside Edison. It's miraculous she wasn't shredded. And Payne? Valerie shrugs. There's nothing left of him, though we hardly had time to go for a search. Without another word, Valerie starts to walk away. We're heading to Williamsburg. Valerie stops briefly, looking back at us through her disheveled mop of red hair. Excellent. Then she's off, sprinting away, her figure silhouetted against the flickering flames as she vanishes into the darkness. Pádraig shoots me a weary glance. I just nod, too wired to chat. Come on, we have a lot of ground to cover. After a grueling half-an-hour march, we take a break near a desolate abandoned dump, its landscapes cluttered with rubble and crumbling walls. I slump against the chain fence, mustering what little energy I have left. Then I catch Pádraig giving me a vacant stare. What's up? I got something on my face? That was sharp thinking earlier. You're really quick on your feet. His compliment earns him a half smirk from me, buoying my spirits ever so slightly. Yeah, I try walking a mile in my boots. You'd stop second guessing shit real quick. He chuckles and I can't help but join in. We're laughing like lunatics, the adrenaline making even this lamest joke seem hilarious. I guess we both needed a break from the gloom. But the laughter is fleeting. A scream shatters the calm, echoing from the direction of the dump. I recognize the voice instantly, and Pádraig grimaces, tells me he does too. Julia! We sprint towards the source of the screams, eyes peeled on any threat, only slowing as Julia's voice becomes clear. She's furiously swearing at someone, her tone tinged with pain. Standing over Julia is an odd figure. An older man, styled like a throwback to a tacky era, snug jeans, a leather jacket, and a ridiculous mustache. Oddly, he's also wearing a priest's collar and holding a double-barreled shotgun. For some reason, just the sight of him sends shivers down my spine, making me want to flee. It's a familiar terror, the kind I felt with that North Korean missionary, that deep, all-consuming fear that numbs your will to nothing. Julia is sprawled on the ground, a combat knife pinning her limp arm, while the hunter's shotgun pressed brutally against her throat. Despite her exhaustion, she clumsily reaches for a packet of cigarettes with her free hand. Her voice is gritty but quivers as she speaks. Be a good sport and help me with this. Damn. I've earned one last drag at least. You know, those things will kill you. Hilarious. Do they teach you that wit in seminary, or does it just come naturally? His movements are slow, calculated, almost serene as he lights Julia's cigarette for her. Something's not right about this guy. We should... Yes, it's time to... Let's bide our time. The right moment will come. The hunter's presence is ridiculously oppressive. I can't even move, my limbs frozen with fear. I catch Pádraig's eye, and he looks rattled too, fidgeting nervously with his ring. Should I run through a comedy routine with my sins while we're away? No need. You're beyond redemption. There's no sin where there's no soul. Oh, Father, I am sinful in more ways than you can imagine. Father, I left the clergy a long time ago. Now I follow a different calling, one that has truly deepened my faith, far beyond what the Holy Sacrament could achieve. Oh, well, isn't that fucking relief? Julia draws deeply on her cigarette, stalling for time. The hunter watches, irritation flickering across his face, before he suddenly flicks the cigarette out of her hand. I pity you, creature, like so many others I've dealt with. But there's nothing that I can be cleansed with holy fire, and I have just the remedy. He breaks open the shotgun and pulls a peculiar orange shell from his pocket, its surface marked with a stark DB. Consider this an act of mercy. Just get on with it, and save me the fucking lecture, will you? The hunter stands, his movements meticulous as he methodically ejects the old shells, preparing to slot in the orange ones. I want to leap up, to shout, to stop him, but I can't. I'm paralyzed, rooted to the spot in terror. But Pádraig suddenly stands, his voice cutting through the tension. You won't do that. I forbid you. The hunter stops, as if struck by lightning. Shotgun only half loaded, his wild eyes looking with Pádraig's determined gaze. Leave her, now! His voice booms, echoing with a thunderous authority that even I feel compelled to obey. The hunter steps back from Julia, his actions slow, almost as if controlled by some unseen forces. Could Pádraig's commands have actually worked? Then in one fluid motion the hunter draws a six-shooter. The crack of gunfire shatters the eerie silence. I watch in agonizing slow motion as Pádraig gets swept clean off his feet, unable to reach out and stop the inevitable. Time seems to hold its breath, trapping me in this surreal nightmare where the only truth is the piercing agony of seeing my friend fall. Everything fades into a blur except for that piercing ache and rage, a raw, incandescent fury that defies all odds. And we have the ability to increase either animalism or our presence, emotions in others, to attract or terrify, or communicate, control, or feed more effectively with animals. I think, like in this case, we want to have presence, I suppose. So yeah, we'll go with that. We could not go obfuscation. Okay, that makes sense. After 20 minutes of pushing through the streets in heavy silence, Pádraig is the first to break it. So, just to clarify, he was so terrified of you that he ran right straight under a truck? I shrug nonchalantly, adjusting my hold onto Julia. She's limping between us, supported by our shoulders, clearly still suffering from her earlier ordeal with the maniac. Oh, cut the bullshit. Modesty is not a good look on you. I don't fucking know, okay? It just happened. I just glared at the guy, channeling all my high school angst right at him. It's not completely true, and they know it. That priest was so full of conviction, this blind, all-encompassing faith, that it was almost more than we could handle. But when Pádraig got shot, something I didn't know was within me suddenly awoke from its slumber. I must have looked fucking terrifying, and honestly, I felt like a giant compared to that little priest. The moment I unleashed my wrath in a guttural roar, he dropped his weapon and bolted, tripping over anything in his path, including his own legs. That's precisely what went down. Julia and I heard it, but Pádraig missed it. The sudden screech of tires followed by a loud, fleshy thud that marked the priest's premature rapture. But they don't need to learn the behind the scenes of it all. Kali, that's twice you've saved us tonight. I'm at a loss for words. Yeah, whatever. Don't sweat it. Look, you two. The very picture of sappiness. Disgusting. Move it. We're nearly there. We dragged Julia all the way to Williamsburg without any further trouble. But as we reach the safe house, instead of the expected sigh of relief, a new kind of unease raises the hair on my neck. Like I've just made a grave mistake. Wait. But what that mistake will be, we'll have to find out next time. So, I will see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.